Today is Thursday, February 11th, 2016. The title of this rant is After Cluster Bombing in Syria, Russia Proposes a Ceasefire. So Russia's been in Syria for a couple months now. They've done a heck of a lot of bombing. They've been very indiscriminate in their bombing. They've been doing the bidding of the Assad regime. They're hurting a lot of innocent civilians. And it's just getting worse and worse. So right now we have about 50,000 refugees waiting at the border to get into Turkey. They've been cluster bombed all over the place in its town of Aleppo in Syria. Right now Turkey is balking about letting them in. They've already let in about 2.5 million Syrians. Now, some of them have gone on to the Western European countries, but this is an incredible humanitarian catastrophe that's going on there. So not only have there been millions of people that have been gone into or through Turkey, refugees from Syria. There's a lot in Lebanon. There's a lot in Jordan. They can't educate these kids that are coming over there with their families. They don't have jobs for them there. I'm talking about Lebanon and Jordan. A lot of them are migrating to the Western Europe. That's going to be very difficult for them to get jobs to. And of course, there is no even remotely close solution in terms of what's going to happen in Syria. And as of right now, there are approximately 6.5 million Syrians, out of only a population, I believe, of about 22 million people in Syria, that are internally displaced within Syria. And of course, Russia is there because Russia wants to say Russia wants relevance, and Russia wants to keep their deep water port, or their port, in Syria, and they also want to continue to have access to the air base in Syria. So they'll throw Assad under the bus, but they want to keep those things. And this is a situation where there isn't any good situation, any good alternative, any good ending to this type of thing. And in many of the instances right now, keeping Assad in power might be one of, is a scenario that might actually bring about some peace. Now, I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just saying the prospects for a peaceful solution with the players that are in right now doesn't bode well for anybody. In fact, I would venture to say that it might not be until the 22nd century that we actually have peace in the Middle East. But what will happen because of that? We will have more Syrians and more people from other countries fleeing internal strife. And that could, because right now there's 20-some thousand people were killed in the last year in Iraq. I mean, there's still plenty of sectarian violence going on there. Will there be any type of upheaval in Iran at any point in time? Will Egypt be able to continue to have its stronghold over the population? We know that Libya is a mess. Tunisia has had their problems with terrorism also. So there's a whole lot going on over there, and we better be engaged, and we better be engaged for the long haul, because this is not only a humanitarian crisis. This could be a crisis for a long, long time. And a lot of the big thing is the Western countries, including the United States, including Russia, have propped up a lot of these countries with a strong man so they could get easy access to the oil. And in the meantime, now we have a huge jump in the population. We have limited resources in those countries. We have limited job opportunities for people in those countries. We have very little other types of means of production in those countries outside of oil. And of course, Russia is seeing this happening too, because what is oil? $26, $27 a barrel in today's market. And Russia and all of these countries are just taking it up because they might be able to make a little bit of money on oil, but not like they had for many years in the past. So they won't be able to prop up their strong, well, they'll try to keep propping up their strong men. And of course, that's going to be to the detriment to the average working person in all of those Middle Eastern countries. And it's going to be, not only is there cluster bombing going over there, it's going to be a clusterfuck for a long, long time. But it's so important for the United States and its Western allies to stay engaged in all this, because Russia coming in didn't help the situation, is hurting the situation. At the same time, there really aren't any good answers to it. But when you have 6.5 million people displaced within Syria, you have 2.5 million people that have already fled Syria. You have al-Assad, who doesn't want to leave. And remember, if he leaves, it's not the end of him. He'll go to some country and be able to live out his days, probably. Maybe they'll get him for war crimes. It's all the people that have propped Assad up. They're all going down in those countries unless they can find their way out. And they're doing everything. And that's the same in all the other countries. That's what's going on in Iran right now. Iraq has got this new leadership thing of the Shia going after the Sunni. So there's a lot of this going on right now, but the United States needs to stay engaged.